Good morning. Well, what's happening here? Well, I'll explain in a minute. First of all, I did come back to the model table yesterday afternoon and evening. And I did find those other pieces that I'd lost yesterday. I'd set them on the mantle clock for safekeeping. I didn't want to get them broken. And they're right over there. And I did paint them, as well as those containers for the gun cleaning equipment, which I have since learned would not necessarily be the same diameter as the inside of the barrel, because if you had a 16-inch gun, you know, a 16-inch brush would be pretty big. So I guess they had a different way of cleaning them. I'm sure that if I was to Google it, that somebody would show me how it's done. But you know, hey, I'm having enough to do here, just trying to get at this, putting these parts on the deck. Now, this is the schematic for the hood. And what happened is there's a fellow here in Winnipeg who's building the hood, and he's at the place where he wants to do his rigging. And he was wondering if possibly I could snap some pictures of this schematic here, which I'm noticing now doesn't really have a whole lot of rigging on it. Well, actually, no, it does now that I'm looking at it. It's got more than I actually put on when I did the hood, about half a year ago now, or finished the hood. And so what I'm going to do, there's more over here. Okay. All right, John, there's more here than I thought there was. So what I'll do for you is I'll snap some pictures today, and I'll try and get them off to you. I want to get at my Rodney though. You might say the Rodney build is really getting behind. So let's sort of just roll back and see what it is I did yesterday afternoon. It wasn't a whole lot, nothing important. Yeah, let's just roll back. Now, I know I could pull this off, but if I pull this off, am I going to, why is it that I've got this one on? Let's just take this one off first and see. Okay. Yeah, I think that I don't think there's anything underneath this tape right here. Now, some of these are really obvious as to what they are, so we didn't label those. Now on this block here, I failed to put a little piece of tape over top of the label to protect it for when we sprayed. It's kind of hard to read, but process of elimination here, it's easy to figure out. There's only 3 different kinds of boxes. There was the J13s, the G19s, and the G35s. Well, here's 13, here's 19, so this has to be 35. Oh, and to that viewer who suggested maybe I find something a little bit more definitive for pointing with. Okay, do you like this? Yeah, that works pretty good. Okay, I had been planning on just using my point and shoot there, and then I thought, let's have some fun here and do it right. So I get myself all set up, and I'm thinking I'll use the surveillance monitor to look at what I'm doing here, so I can focus nice and sharp and everything. It's a lot more convenient than looking at the little screen that's on the back of the camera. Anyway, this camera takes what is known as an HDMI mini. Not the micro, the mini. It's halfway in between the regular and the micro. Now, you know how it is when you use something and if you don't put it back where you normally put it, you're not going to find it again. Well, I'm not kidding you. I spent an hour looking for this thing. I knew I didn't throw it out. And, well, I eventually found it. But it wasn't where it was where I had last used it, yeah, but I'd forgotten that I'd used it there. Anyway, we're up and running here. And I had thought that, well, may as well do this really, really well as long as we're going to do it. You know, my grandfather had a saying, if you're going to do it right. Anyway, I can view it here in the monitor. And right now I've got the lens wide open, and for you camera buffs, whoops, I don't want to spill my coffee here. For you camera buffs, the lens is at 35 millimeter. This is my 16 to 35. It fits my D850 here. Now my D850 will take snapshots pretty much as well, not quite as good as the Z9, but good enough. It's better than the point and shoot because you can actually see what the camera's seeing. You're not relying on the autofocus and hoping that it got it right. Now, mind you, that little point and shoot over there, it does pretty good. Anyway, so I can... Okay, I'm focused on the smokestacks here, and when I stop it down a little bit, depth of field will take any care of any discrepancies, more or less. So what I'm planning to do here, John, is I'm just going to photograph the where the rigging is. I'm not going to do the entire ship because there's nothing of interest. You already know what that looks like. I mean, you've got it. Okay, so here we go. Now, I guess I should stop it down first. Okay, we'll stop it. We'll stop it down to F8. We'll wait for the camera to stop shaking. And what I've done is I've programmed it so that the mirror will slap up. It'll wait 1 second, and then the shutter will go off. So that we'll try and get it as sharp as we possibly can. Now I guess if I had it zoomed in on the scene and I could focus a little bit more accurately, but that's kind of cumbersome, but it does work. Anyway, here we go. Okay, you heard the 2 clicks. First click was the shutter or the mirror slapping out of the way, and the second click was the shutter going off, taking the picture. And then it sort of slapped back down again. So we're good to go for the next one. So we got this one. Now the next shot would probably be from overhead, looking straight down. And it should still be in focus because this hasn't gone up or down. So here we go. Okay, now there's a couple of shots over here. And there's one over here. Okay, where's the line goes down to here, and there's nothing above here, so you're getting it all. All right, and then there's one on the bottom here. I think that this one on the bottom is just sort of like mirror image to the one we took at the top. It's got the ship facing the other way, but we'll get it anyway. Okay. Maybe I'll get those out to you today, and we'll see what happens. And good luck with your build on your hood there, John. I'm hoping you put something on your. Do you have a? I never noticed. Do you? I know I'm getting pictures from you. Well, you can always send me pictures, and that'd be kind of nice. I appreciate that. I still got your pictures from 2 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on here with my business. We'll try and get some of these little parts down today. Wouldn't that be nice if we actually got to stick some of the little parts down? I'm very curious to see how some of these mushroom vents, where the paint literally ran down to the base of them, where it's stuck on the sticky tape and made a little pool, you might say. Is it going to widen that area so that it's going to be hard to plug in? So, okay, let's, talk is cheap, and it's a lot easier for me to talk than to stand up and do something. So that's probably why I talk too much. Let's get on with it here. Okay, now, before we turn the page back to step 13, remember I said we were going to have to go backwards? I got a sort of a confession to make, and that is that after I'd snapped all those pictures, I was not happy with the sharpness. I thought we can get it sharper. Like this is my zoom lens that I was talking about, the 16 to 35, and I went and I got my normal 50 millimeter 1.4, which I very seldom use anymore. But it's a fantastic lens. But it's strictly 50 millimeter. It's a normal lens, but it's very, very sharp, and it's very, very fast, which means that it's quite easy to focus. And so I stuck that on, and I reshot all those pictures that you saw me doing here, and the ones that you saw dubbed in were actually taken with this lens. I like to keep everything honest. I don't like to I don't want to mislead. And what difference does it make? I'm not in this for the money. I'm not trying to sell a lens. I'm not trying to sell anything, actually. I just like to keep it. I like to keep it real. Tell it like it is, as they say. Anyway, we're back to normal. This lens actually is actually a very good lens, but at 50 millimeters, if I set this to 50 millimeter, this one will be sharper. Marginally sharper. When it comes to cameras and lenses, I guess you could say I'm a rivet counter. Okay, I just thought afterwards I made a mistake there. I was saying that if I set this one to 50 millimeters, it'll be sharper than this one. Well, I just know there's going to be camera buffs out there that are no fools, and they're going to say, well, how can you set a 16 to 35 to 50? Well, I guess I was thinking of this one. This one you actually can set to 50 millimeter, and it would be like right there. That would be 50 millimeter. It goes from 24 to 120. This is a really good lens. I could have used this one, and it probably would have done almost as well as this one. In a way, it might have done better because I could have zoomed in. No, this is good enough. Anyway, let's get on with it, Ron. Okay, here we are. We're on step 13. We start at the bow. We would start here with 43 and 44, which is these. And I was thinking, well, we could, glue these on. And when I was envisioning where they're going to go over here, I realized that I gotta paint a lot of stuff here yet first, before we start gluing things down. For instance, the capstans that are going to go right here. Well, this should be painted before we glue it down. In other words, all of these areas should be painted. Now, if you remember that Carlo in his drawing had depicted these as a very, very light gray, and they may have been. It may have been a very light gray. I'm just wondering, though, if the darker gray, the 77, would look better. I don't think I need to paint this area right here. We'll just leave that deck tent. It's going to be basically covered up by the breakwater, which, by the way, I did paint the 56. Just for the fun of it, just see how bad that's going to look. I did think when I was doing it that I could always... where did it go? Just hang on a second, I'll get it. So let me push stop for a minute. Okay. I think there's positioning pins there somewhere. Yeah, there's a positioning pin right there, but the hole that it has to go into is considerably smaller. Well, we can drill those holes out. Anyway, that might be too dark. In other words, it might be too large a piece to be dark. I don't know. Maybe I should respray it the same as this, which is the 66, I believe. Okay. I don't know here. I got to think about this for a bit. Okay, just for the fun of it now, let's just see how are these smaller pieces going to look. May not be positioned exactly right, but I think that's going to look all right. Yeah, I think it's going to look okay. Believable, anyway. Now, what with all these important decisions I'm having to make here, I need to take a bit of a break, and I'm noticing that our bird feeder on the left side is getting kind of low. I heard the crows out there a while ago, and they were hopping around right underneath the bird feeder. There's about half a dozen or more. What is it called? A murder of crows? When you have a whole bunch of crows? Anyway, there was a murder of crows out there, and they were probably eyeing that bird feeder and wondering how they could land on the perch there. I've never seen a crow on the bird feeder, just the smaller birds. Anyway, it'll give me a bit of a break from this here. Okay, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a crow at the bird feeder. Just after I said I've never seen any crows up there, but they've got it figured out. They've got it figured out. Okay, well that's all right. The crow is a nice bird, sort of. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.